Hello, everyone. My name is Johnny Qui, and I'm currently enrolled at UB's MSW JD program. As a recipient of Embrace Western New York's Educational Scholarship for the spring of 2020,
what are your professional and career plans?
my professional and career path goals is to ultimately run my own nonprofit, similar to Embrace Western New York, to open an advocacy center for LGBTQ youth members.
Briefly describe your involvement in LGBTQ plus organizations and efforts.
My experience and involvement has been through Embrace Western New York. I've been with them for a little bit over 4 years. And what I've done mainly was to run part of the donor relations, kind of coordinate getting basket raffles and sign auction items. And I've briefly worked as a communications director for our local chapter of the Alliance at DeYovo College.
So how has Embrace Western New York's education scholarship benefited you?
Embrace Western New York's educational scholarship has benefited me in many ways, including being able to pay for part of my tuition and allow me to afford books and other necessary equipment I need for classes.
Why do you think an organization like Embrace Western New York is important in today's society?
An organization like Embrace Western New York is important in today's society because they advocate and push to give everyone an equal opportunity, especially through scholarships and also other project grants, allowing us to branch out and giving LGBTQ members kind of an equal stance in society.
So what LGBTQ plus issues are important to you, and how do you think Embrace Western New York can help with those issues?
I think the most important thing for us, which we still haven't gotten, is being seen as an equal instead of being seen as someone that's lesser or not as important as a heterosexual couple would be. There are still a lot of rights that we aren't granted or something we still have to push for as an LGBTQ plus member. And I would definitely love to see us as equal members in society, and Embrace Western New York can definitely assist with that because they can assist in offering members in other places grants and scholarships to do research, to advocate, and also to speak on behalf of the entire LGBTQ community.
What advice do you have for LGBTQ plus youth?
The advice I have for LGBTQ plus youth is to don't be afraid to be yourself. And if you're afraid for something or have any questions or concerns, just reach out to someone. Find a mentor that you can talk to and address your concerns to and see how they can help you out. But the most important thing is don't be afraid of who you are and express yourself the way that you feel most comfortable with. Your contributions make it possible for the organization to continue helping others through research, education, and project scholarships. As a donor, sponsor, and participant, you are making it possible for Embrace Western New York to give back to its larger community and for me to be here. How are you doing?
Good. How are you? Sorry about the delay. Thank you for being so patient.
No, you're fine. I know you're probably super busy with everything.
So my name is Monica Wallace, and I am a New York State legislator. I'm in the New York State Assembly, and I represent the 143rd District, which is Lancaster, Depew, and Cheektowaga, which is sort of the eastern suburbs of the Buffalo area. I've been in office now for 4 years. This is my 4th year. Before that, I worked for, I'm an attorney, so I spent a couple years in private practice. Then I worked for a federal judge for many years, and I taught at UB Law School for a couple of years, and then kind of transitioned into this.
What got you involved to represent your community?
I never really envisioned myself running for public office. I was happy teaching at UB Law School. I loved teaching at UB Law School. And I felt like I was really making an impact that way. I also loved being a law clerk for a federal judge because I felt like I was really helping to, ensure that justice was done and making sure fairness and in the decision making and so forth. But it's actually, I think you'll appreciate this story probably more than most. What happened was my kids are in high school at the time, and there was some brouhaha in the high school because the woman who held this position, who was our New York State Assembly member, had gone to a school board meeting and had voiced her opposition to integrating bathrooms and to the issue of, making bathrooms more LGBT friendly, or the locker rooms, that whole inciting the hateful rhetoric, and saying things that I thought were disgusting and inappropriate and divisive in our community, where my children go to school, where my children are learning the values of our community. And I said, who is this person? Why is she in this position? She doesn't represent my values. I don't want her representing my community. And I was complaining about it to a few friends, who then said, well, why don't you run for that position? And like most people who were approached originally, you say, no. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I don't want her to be the voice of this community. And so I ran. And then she backed down. And she actually did not run again because she had her own ethical issues. And then, I won. So yeah.
That's an amazing story though.
Yeah.
Because for me, I think that's what motivated me to go into law and social work, to do the combined degree, because I felt like, for me, being a doctor, I was able to assist the patient, but I couldn't voice a lot of my concerns because there's so much politics in a hospital.
Yeah.
So I realized that I love building that relationship with patients even after they've left, and I feel like I could do so much more with what I can with clients or even other patients that have left the hospital. And I was like, I think social work or law school is the way to go for that.
That's wonderful. Good.
So I know you said you did represent the 143rd district. I was kind of doing a little bit some of the research that you've had. I know you advocate heavily for LGBTQ rights. What are some of the impacts that you've had on LGBTQ rights? And has there been any sort of opposition to some of the things you've seen in your assembly district?
So I have to say, I haven't seen a whole lot of opposition to it, at least not publicly. I think there are people, I think when you ask me what the impacts are, I think being the voice to replace the person that was the voice is just one example of how you can be impactful, right? Because I not only eliminated her voice, this hateful, rhetoric, the divisive rhetoric, the anti-LGBT rhetoric, but I replaced it with somebody who is supportive of LGBTQ rights, somebody who does believe in equality for everyone, somebody who can be supportive of the agenda and has voted on many, many bills, and can speak intelligently about why this is important for everyone in our community to get behind. So I think that's really one of the biggest ways that I can have an impact, is to be that person out there in front of the cameras or in front of the reporters, or speaking to the community in different settings and saying, like, this is the right thing to do. This is appropriate. Our government, our Constitution ensures equal rights for everyone. Everyone should have an opportunity to live their fullest life. And we need to have policies in place that allow for that. We've been able to support some really great policies over the past couple of years. We've had some really important pieces of legislation that have been supportive, the anti-conversion therapy, the gender. I was very loud, and a lot of the local representatives were very loud in supporting the what was it called? The panic defense, the gay panic defense, right? And that was a good example of how I was able to use my law degree and my background to say, like, this is not okay, and here's why. Not only from a legal standpoint, and also from a justice standpoint. So I mean, it's important, I think, to support the policies, but it's not just about policy, because there's always going to be a new policy to pass, and so it's more just about, like, what do you sort of envision as the role of being in this position? And I think it is to be that person that hears what the concerns of the community are, addresses the issues as they come up, and tries to make the best decision after listening to the experts, right? That's another thing. I think my background, having been working for a judge for so many years, my background kind of really prepared me for this job, because I'm used to listening to this, plaintiff attorney or defense attorney, and doing the research, and then sort of making a recommendation as to what the best result is. So that's knowing that I don't know everything, my job is to listen to other people who do know more than me and hear what they have to say and try to come up with sort of a good consensus and a reasoned, thoughtful response to whatever the issue is.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just have one last question for you, if you don't mind. What is a message you would like to give to LGBTQ youth who feel uncomfortable or is afraid of being who they are,
So, I mean, first, I guess I'd say is everybody when they're young is uncomfortable with who they are. So know that. We all went through that. But I know it can be more challenging for different people depending upon, their circumstances and, what they're experiencing in their families and so forth. So I would say that, the most important thing is to seek out people who are supportive and to seek out organizations that are supportive. And getting back to what I said earlier, that's why I think it's so incredibly important that we as a legislature support these nonprofit organizations that are doing all this really good work. So I would say, there's a lot of organizations out there and there's a lot of people out there. And the people who are out there who are older will tell you, no matter who they are and what their circumstances, whether they're LGBTQ or not, like I went through that. And I know how you feel and it's terrible and it's awkward, but you will get through this and it will get better. And we're here to help you do that. So sort of know that there's, sunshine at the end of the cloudy rain, and help them, people are here to support you along the way.
That's important, yes. I definitely agree with that because support is a huge thing. And if anything, I've learned that the support system here in Buffalo is amazing too. There's so many resources out there, and I was afraid at first, but I've gotten to really learn that it does not really matter, I guess, the town or the district that you're in, that everyone's going to be supportive. There's always a supporting member or a supporting, organization in that area that's always going to be there for you.
That's right. That's right. So wonderful. So terrific. Well, it was so wonderful talking to you today. I wish you well. I look forward to, seeing you in the hallways at some point, hopefully at the law school or in the community practicing. So wonderful.
All right. It was so nice to meet you. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day.
Absolutely. Thank you for being so patient. Take care.
Bye.